Manchester United's latest financials have been released. The quarterly reports. Give me 10 minutes of your time now, and I will explain everything for you. The top lines, things that we have to understand. What about the cash? What about the debt? What about the, the money that we've got to spend this window for the signings that we want to make for Erik ten Hag, especially with the takeover going on? I'll run through everything, summarize it all in 10 minutes. Drop a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe if you're new, but I'll dive straight into this one. There's going to be plenty of numbers, but I'm going to try and explain it as simply as I can, even though it is not that simple. I'll be totally honest. But look, first thing I want to say here, on the day that these reports were released, on the day that the new kit was launched, the 1958 organised a protest outside the megastore and closed the megastore. Well done, lads. I don't mean that in a sarcastic fashion. People can point and say, oh, look how many people turned up. Why would you point and laugh at what United fans are trying to do to help get rid of these owners rather than anybody who's not doing anything? Everybody do what you can in your own facility, in your own capacity. Big up to the 1958 for doing that. But let's dive into these numbers, all right? I'm going to run through the latest quarterly reports. So because Manchester United is a publicly traded company on the New York Stock Exchange, we have to release these reports. If the Qatari bid is successful and Sheikh Jassim becomes our new owner, there won't be any more of these. Man United will become a private company again. But as it stands, we can take a look and scrutinize the financials. So the main top line from this is this. Well, it's not the main top line. It's what people are talking about. Manchester United's financial projections for how much the club is going to make overall in 2023 has actually gone up from 590 to 610 as the estimation to 630 to 640 million pounds. Now you might say that's not significant, but the club's record revenues for a single season were 627 million, and that was in 2019. And we haven't had Champions League over the last year. Man United, it is ridiculous how big we still are. It's staggering, really. I haven't won the Champions League since 2008. I haven't won the Premier League since 2013. Yet here we are, potentially in a season without the Champions League and the extra revenue that comes through there. Maybe about to post our club record revenues. Now, that might make you scared and say, oh, hold on, the Glazers are going to stay in. Why would they leave? I wouldn't say that. Surely the best time to sell is when you're at a peak. That's when you get an inflated price. Anyway, let's dive into the numbers themselves, right? Let's get this up here. We can see that Manchester United's commercial revenue, and what this does here, this compares the 3 months in 2023 to the 3 months in 2022. So a direct comparison here. This one over there on the right-hand side is the 9-month period of 2023 compared to 2022. You can see that Manchester United's commercial revenue went up nearly 6%. Matchday revenue there went up nearly 40%. An absolutely huge increase there. And overall revenue went up 11%. But a big figure that I think every United fan could and should be looking at is down here. $650 million. That's not the only debt that we have got, because our gross debt at this football club now is $728 million. The good point there that Kieran Maguire raises about Manchester United's wages actually dropping to around about 50% of income. That's really important for FFP in the grand scheme of things, because that's going to be now a measure. This summer, I think it's 90%, but eventually that will drop to 70%. United are way under it as it stands, probably because they've got rid of Ronaldo. I mean, I haven't actually signed it. But look at this, right? 728 million. The debt of the club is still nearly what it was when they bought us, and over $1 billion has left our club. I mean, I hate the Glazers so much, and the fact that Manchester United are still, from a revenue perspective, still so impressive is in spite of their ownership, not because of their ownership. That whole Ed Woodward regional sponsorship business model, Man United's revenues haven't really grown in the last 5 years or so. Now it's starting to go upwards, but look. This is where it gets interesting, where I want your focus, because this is where it does affect what we can do this summer, all right? Because we go in here and we start looking at these. This is the cash flow, all right? And this is where Manchester United are going. This is how we're going to be making signings this summer. This credit facility, you can see that our cash flow, the amount of cash in Manchester United's bank account, has gone down from 95.8 million at this point last year to now 73 million this year. That's gone down. And it's this revolving credit facility, effectively, where Manchester United are going to be able to make their signings, right? Let me explain this to you now, because I think this is the most important aspect. Last summer, we signed everyone on a credit card. We've got, I think it's £300 million worth of, they called it credit revolving facilities, effectively credit cards. So, I don't know, it's just a different way of describing what a credit card is. But £300 million worth. And we know full well that this is what was said in the last quarterly report, okay? Because I spoke about this. I remember speaking about this. Look, this is about the revolving credit facility and how at that moment in time of the 31st of December 2022, we had maxed it out. And look, when you add on the interest that's payable, that actually was 206 million. But look, it is anticipated that the club will be able to reduce the balance of that to zero as of the 30th of June 2023. So in 3 days' time. This is what we were told back in, this was the Q2 reports. Let's see how that now has changed to the Q3 reports. So they're saying it was going to go down to zero. And you can see here that that has been changed to go down to 40 million. So dropping it from 200 million, that when you add in the interest at that point was going to be 203 million. Instead of it going down to zero, it's now going to be going down to 40 million. So being reduced by 160 million pounds. Interestingly enough, I say interestingly enough, it's just quite sad. It kind of shows the state of our finances as a football club. If you go back towards, I think this is the Q3 report from 2019, you can see there, read this. We have not needed to draw any borrowings under our revolving facility since 2009. We have no intention of retiring our revolving facility and may draw on it in the future. Yeah, you have. We become pretty much reliant on it. It was actually a point of pride that Manchester United had back in the day. I say back in the day, it was in 2019 that we didn't need to use it. It's still 200 million, but that is getting reduced, and I think the dates are quite important here as well. Because it says, look, at the 30th of June. Now, the reason I'm saying that could be important is this. This is speculative more than anything else, right? Let me try and zoom in a bit more on that. Don't think I can. Does that mean that Manchester United have been sort of holding back on signings because this credit facility has been maxed out up until the 30th of June? And also the 30th of June, that will be Manchester United's Q4 year end. And that means that any signings that we were to make after the 30th of June wouldn't be reflected in that year's report. So wouldn't reflect Manchester United's record revenues, wouldn't reflect anything like that because it would go on to the next year's report. So maybe it's a numbers game. It's kind of always been a numbers game with the Glazers, but it's something certainly worth considering. And I think the fact, I don't know whether I'm looking into that too much, but the fact that it's used the word at there in terms of it's going to happen specifically on the 30th of June rather than before, rather than after it, at the 30th of June. Maybe that's part of it as well. Maybe we have just been waiting for our credit card to get cleared for us to be able to make signings. And maybe that has been the hold-up. Because as Laurie Whitwell says here, look, once this is all said and done, it means that Manchester United will have a significant amount to spend. So we've always had that extra 100 million on the other sort of credit facility that we've never spent, but for some reason that was never spent. I don't know whether that's kept specifically for just the actual operational costs of the business. Sod knows. I can't speculate on that. But United will have money. Once the 30th of June is gone, that credit facility is going to be reduced from 200 million down to just 40, which will leave 260 million pounds worth of credit available to spend. Now, I wish this was not something that we should get excited and shout about, but that's how we're spending money these days. It's almost like the Glazers have never spent a penny of their own money. I know it's a wild idea. I know it's a wild fact. They've never invested one penny of their own money, and they've spent our money, and they've maxed that out. And now they're waiting for it to be cleared again before they can do the spending again. Maybe that might be why. This is Martin Ziegler from the Times saying, look, United have got that spending pot of 120 million. But when you look at how United have been acting so far in the market, the only bid we've gone in with is Mason Mount, around about 55 million. And we've got around about 73 million of cash in the bank. Kind of ties in with each other. That's just me speculating more than anything else. And I want to confirm that part there. That's the opposite. I don't want to confirm it. That's just me speculating that that's the reason we've not spent. But it'll be interesting to see if after the 30th of June, all of a sudden things change. And also, of course, the takeover is responsible for all of this, but I suppose Sheikh Jassim would clear all the debt. There's no point speculating on that. Numbers everywhere. Again, as a United fan, I just want to be talking about, we should be signing Harry Kane. Mason Mount, let's have an argument about him. But instead, we're diving into financial reports and credit card facilities and credit revolving facilities and X. And it is confusing. I hope I've summarised it for you there. But the point there, which was raised and made by Laurie Whitwell, United have got the credit facilities to fund the spending in the same way that we spent last summer. That's how we went so big. And that's how we're going to do it again this summer. And maybe it's just been a case of clearing that facility. It's not going to be clear completely down to zero, which was the prediction at the end of Q2. But it is going to be going down to around about 40 million. So 160 million of it's going to get paid off, which means the Man United will have the money. Although it might not be our money. It might be the Bank of America's money, but it's money that we can spend, money that the Glazers can spend without putting their hand in their pocket. You can let me know what you think in the comments below. I suppose it's as good a news as you can possibly get without the takeover happening, but just get it done. And as I said, I want to finish this video on the same message I said at the start. Well done to the 1958 for getting the megastore closed. Even if it only impacted it slightly, it impacted it, and it changed the sort of message that was going out on the day of the kit launch. Instead of it just being about, a sexy new kit, all of a sudden newspapers are speaking about protests and the megastore closing. Big up, lads.